Clive, a veteran of UKIP campaigns, I think we've been speaking to you since about 2006. Is this a breakthrough year?
I think so, yeah. When you look at what's happening on the TV and how high profile Nigel Farage is, he's certainly pushing the party forward. It's something that needed to be done, but people are taking notice for one reason. Like the other parties are not doing what they should be doing. You know, with Clegg on telly as well, that was a wonderful turnout, you know, but you take your hat off to Clegg, he went on there and done it, you know, where the others, what can we say? You know, they don't want to show their faces on there because they're going to get the same treatment, and if they keep telling lies, you know, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Interesting, having just interviewed Roy Jones and Peter Prendergast, I think the point of those two interviews, two very different men with two very different and that's the important thing for UKIP to try and get across, that you are all different as any other party.
Yeah, I think on my side of it, I look at what the government have done and what they're doing. You've got the bridge scenario, or the crossing across the Thames, or, you know, in my opinion, it's got to go underneath the Thames for one reason. They shut the bridge when it's windy. Well, if they're going to shut two bridges, you know, the queue is going to go back perhaps to Canvey roundabout. You know, it's ridiculous. It was paid for, the bridge, in 2002, all done, and we're supposed to have enough money left over to maintain it. Like, but obviously they didn't stop the tolls are still being paid, so they're making money for nothing. And the crossing, Conservatives are going round and telling people that they're fighting against the crossing. Well, I'm afraid the cabinet members on the Essex County Council, the Conservatives, have already voted for option C. Like, so if they actually look online, they can see it. But do they look? But they're going around telling lies to people, you know, and promoting themselves, the Conservatives, saying this is, you know, we're fighting this for the people. Well, they're not. It's already done. You know, and that doesn't make sense to me. You know, I'll just look at things and say to myself, why don't they tell the truth? We want politicians to tell the truth. We want people in local council to tell the truth. That's the big issue, in my opinion.
As a successful Thurrock businessman, you often feel very frustrated. Do you still, you know, with different issues of business and the way you get treated, do you still feel that way?
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, yeah. We've been going 31 years as a business. Obviously, you know, it's daybreak windows, and now we must have a competency card and go on a course to learn how to fit windows. Like, and it's £400 a head you've got to pay. This is another thing come back through Europe. It's utterly stupid. You can talk to MPs till you're blue in the face, but they don't understand, unfortunately, because they're voting the wrong people in. You know, they're voting career politicians in, which to me is madness. You want what Farage is saying, the people's army. You know, you need people that are out there, you know, in business, to step in and say what is going on. Not the multi-millionaires, you know, you just need people who tell the truth, how it goes, and can understand what's being said, and unfortunately none of them in Parliament do understand.
You've always been a keen critic and analyst regarding crime, and I think when we get stats that, you know, Thurrock in January and February had 156 burglaries, not only 3 solved, that doesn't surprise you at all, does it?
No, and I mean, it's what you've got, the, you know, all the hype we had about the Police Crime Commissioner, Mr Alston, I think is a waste of space, a waste of time.
Do you think Mick Thwaites would have been the best?
Mick Thwaites would have been the man. He, you know, that's who I voted for, that's who I wanted UKIP, you know, to put in place instead of the man we did. Nothing wrong with Andrew Smith, he's a great guy. But of course Mick Thwaites had all the background for it. Nick Alston, it's another Conservative issue, isn't it? You know, he's been put in place. What has he done? Charged us more money. Well, the money side of it is ridiculous. I look at the big issue is our national debt. You know, it's 1.3 trillion. Last year we paid 49 billion interest on that debt, but the debt is still going up at £4,000 every second. Now you try and get a calculator big enough to work that out. You know, and then Europe, Tim Condon and Gerard Batten, Tim works out how much it costs us a year with all the regulatory things we have to do. That totted up to 170 billion last year. You know, it's crazy. We're giving money away. The aid that we send abroad, I mean, that's totted up to like 12 billion. You know, we need stuff here. You know, let's start here and forget out there. And the issue, the big question is money. Whatever people are saying locally, what they're going to do, they can't do it without money. Every budget's been cut. The fire brigade, they're cutting off the big ladders on the back of the fire engines, you know. They're all being cut. It's 1.3 million a year. Now, until somebody gets killed because that appliance is not available, they'll take no notice. But when it happens, who cares about it? I do. 1.3 million is nothing compared with what we're blowing abroad. You know, there's lots of things we can do, but I say, they're trying to save money so we can give it away.
I spoke to Rob Gledhill, the deputy leader of the Tories, this morning, interviewing him, and I asked him about UKIP. He said basically it's a vote for Labour in Thurrock. Is that a fair criticism? I think he was referring to Barking and Dagenham and things like that, and way
well, I think unfortunately, you know, this tie-up with Barking and Dagenham, I think it's wrong. We should have nothing to do with them whatsoever. The chief executive, I mean, is obviously the cause of that, because that's where he was, you know, and he's tying us in. But when the chief executive goes to Barton and Dagenham, they took on an understudy. You know, well, he's on over 100 grand a year. Like, so what have we saved? We haven't saved anything. Like, so if he'd done his job, we didn't have the understudy, we'd probably be better off money-wise. Like, but, you know, you look at it, what does the chief executive do? And who are they? Like, they don't employ people. They've only come up through the ranks and got into that position. Same as the bankers, you know, they don't employ people. Chief executives are just chief executives. Like, they've worked their way up. Let's start seeing these people employ people and run a business. Like, that's the difficult side.
Finally, Clive, in an overview of Thurrock and all the candidates, what would you gauge as success on May the 22nd? And what would you gauge as failure?
I think success will be if we can get 25% of the vote overall of the people in Thurrock. Whether anybody gets in or not, if we can make that and get that amount of the vote, I think that'll be success. I don't think it's going to happen hands down, you know. Next year's the big one, isn't it? You know, getting people into Parliament. I don't know, you just got to look at the end result, haven't you?